think Canada will have a good run? What do you think? Obviously, it's hard now because we don't know the groups yet. But do you think they will be able to like at least? I don't know. It'd be tough if they come out of the group.
Yeah, coming out of the group, I think that's asking for a lot. Again, it depends on who they're grouped with.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be asking a lot.
I mean, there's always a chance. Like I said, I think like the squad obviously has like quality.
Yeah.
Right, but it's like it's different when you're going on that world stage because quality in CONCACAF is like completely different than the quality on the world stage. You know, like if you look at some of those teams that are in pot 1 and even in pot 2, it's like there's some scary teams in there, right? It's like it's football, anything can happen, right? But it's like chances are probably wouldn't make it out of the group, but you never know, right? Because you can get in a group with Qatar, right, as your pot 1 team, right? Your pot 2 team can, because they're the host, Qatar.
They're pot 1. Oh my.
Yeah, they're the host. The host is always pot 1.
Still though, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think you get that as well.
Right? If you get Qatar as in your pot 1, then your pot 2, you know, maybe you draw like another team. I don't know who exactly is in pot 2, but
you guys name a Qatar player?
I unfortunately cannot.
Couldn't tell you.
Right, but you know things like that. You know, if you get a favorable draw, that's like some maybe you can make it out, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get like France, Germany. We're gonna get something crazy.
You never know, right? But even if you have one of those teams, but your other couple teams aren't as strong, you know, like Mexico and USA are teams that are in pot 3, I think, and it's like those are teams that we could beat. You know, we did beat, right?
Can they come up against? Yeah, they could.
And Mexico and USA, those are teams too that in the past they've done things in the World Cup. You know, they've made some noise, right? So why can't we?
Another thing is you gotta realize all the players, their first World Cup, and all of that getting into them, you know.
That's true.
All of that on your shoulders, you know. Like you saw Cavallini saying, "Oh, like I can't wait to see Messi." Like there's a lot of things that's gonna go in their heads that they're not gonna be like.
I hope these guys are not starstruck, bro.
That's the thing. I think a lot of them are gonna be starstruck. You know, you're playing thousands of fans.
But are they though? Like a lot of these players now, like they've played like on big stages now.
No,
more and more.
Not the biggest.
Not the biggest stages. And this is the biggest stage.
The only ones probably like Hutchinson is gonna be okay. Borjan will be okay. Davies and David. And Larin.
Larin, but even Buchanan now
then,
too. Like a lot of these players are
well.
playing like they're starting to play Champions League football now. It's not
starting. We're starting. Exactly. You're coming up.
A lot of these guys are starting.
No, but you're coming up against a lot of international legends. You got Ronaldo, Messi.
But you come up against that in Champions League too.
Who Davies once? And it's different again. It's the World Cup. It's the best stage.
Well, I think it's different, but I think like it's not going to be as much of like they're definitely going to be starstruck. But I hope the players now. I think they're more. It's a totally different team than the team that even like the last World Cup. Like if you're looking at the qualifying campaign, the roster is completely different. We had like maybe 1 or 2 players that were playing in Europe at that time that were actually playing for like relatively decent clubs. Now if you look at the roster, almost like probably 60 or 70% of the starting 11 plays in Europe.
Yeah.
It's only let's say if Osorio's starting and the defenders, everyone else pretty much plays in Europe, right? Yeah, you think about it, even Laryea now plays, is in Europe too, right? Technically, he lives in Europe, right? So it's like more and more of these players that are starting are playing, overseas. And I think that's massive.
Yeah, but that's not the World Cup though.
I know it's not the World Cup, but
different being.
It's a next step. It's like it shows that in terms like the team itself has more quality to it than in years past.
Yeah, they're all getting to that next step now. Like the World Cup is soon.
It's huge. But I mean, I think the boys have the camaraderie.
I don't know.
And the fact that they all kind of went through it together, I think that gives you kind of, you know what I mean? You're going there with your dogs. You're not going there with like a...
You think that this is going to be the exact thing that they're going to bring to the World Cup?
I think it's going to be similar. I think probably like maybe 60 or 70%.
5 players.
Will be there.
60 or 70?
I think more than that.
Five or
like maybe there'll be like a few different player variations.
How many players going to the World Cup?
Well, like a 26 or 23 man squad.
They'll probably change like 10 players. Well, they have to add.
Players?
They have to add. They have to. No, the thing is like, they have to add players to the roster they usually bring now because they don't bring 26 players to the.
How many did they bring?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the exact
same.
No,
they bring
like players.
no, but how many players did they bring now?
They probably do bring like
they
around
probably do bring 23.
23, 26, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like.
I think it'll be relatively similar, but I think it just depends.
Like
there's a few young players now that are starting to just get a little bit more hype around them. I guess it just depends who performs, But I think like someone like Laryea, I think even if he doesn't play a lot for Nottingham, I think he'll still be there
for sure.
Right?
He's
I think Kone is an interesting player too because it's like if he kind of cements himself as like a starter. I think
he's been blowing up a little
there's
bit.
hype
now,
around him too, man.
I don't think he starts.
They had a whole
call up though.
Yeah, he'll definitely get a call up, but like, who knows?
I think he starts.
You never know. Like you know what I mean? Like he can have like a Davies-esque ride. Like some of these players, like you know what I mean. All it takes is one move.
Yeah, that's true.
He plays well for the rest of this MLS season now. Someone comes calling in the summer in Europe. He has a couple of big performances in Europe, and then next thing you know, it's like the hype builds quick nowadays, man.
That's
it really does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally, no one knew who Kone was like a week ago.
Overnight, you get the hype. You know what I mean? And
especially during like a World Cup year too.
Exactly.
Players want to be like on their A game, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah. The thing you'll definitely see from them is they're gonna do their best to be in the best shape possible to get into this World Cup.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
My only doubt is these young guys, might get to their heads. They might get to everyone in general because it's the biggest stage ever. You definitely like go into it with like, yeah, I'm gonna head straight, do all this stuff, professional. But then when you're there, things happen. You get those butterflies. You start to see Messi give you a head nod, and you're like, oh, like those are the little things that can get to you. And then you see the fans, you see them chanting, like. You hope it doesn't get to them.
No.
But we'll see. The only thing we can do is see. They'll definitely be in the best position or spot before the World Cup to get there.
Yeah.
Look at the gaffer as well. Probably the best gaffer you can have.
Good mentality, man. Yeah.
Best mentality. So you can definitely. What I would say is this is probably the best Canadian team we can have to put out in the World Cup for sure.
Yeah.
And they have a coach that has experience in a World Cup. Obviously not with men's, but with the women's.
Yeah,
so
I mean that helps, right?
Big stages, man. Big stages. He's coached, right?
Yeah. The only problem is like the players like lack of experience, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I think for Canada, man, like I'd be like very satisfied with 4 points coming out of the group total.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I'll honestly be okay with one win.
I just want to win.
Yeah.
Give me a win and I'm happy, man.
I think that they could make it out of the group, obviously depending on the group that they get. But I think they have enough potential to beat those like fourth potters or third potters.
Little Cinderella run.
You never know, man. It really. I think on Friday we'll have a better idea because once you have that draw, obviously nothing's certain, but you can kind of have a better idea of who your opposition is, so you can kind of make a better prediction. Because it's like we can say, oh, we hope they get a win, and they get in the group of death, and you know what I mean. Then we're happy they just don't get slapped up every game, right?
We'll definitely do a video when that pops.
The draw, for sure.
So stay tuned. We'll definitely have a video for that.
What's up, guys? Jay Zinho here, and today I'm here to talk to you about Footy Fresh. What's Footy Fresh? Only the coolest air freshers around, Footy style. And we got all your favorite players. We got Cristiano Ronaldo. We've got Messi. We've got the Golden Boy Haaland. All your favorite players. You could throw it in your car. You could throw it in your backpack. Put it in your office. The fragrance is to die for. Get yours now at thefootyculture.com.
Definitely. I think if you look at the Canada roster, I think forward, I think we can all agree is probably the strongest position that they have. It's like you have so many like relatively decent attackers, right? The midfield now I think is starting to get a little bit stronger with someone like Kone coming in, even that other young talent if he commits Mitrovic as well. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's either Serbia or Canada. That's like his thing, but he's very talented. And I think it's just like the defense. It's like you have some more experienced players. Kamal Miller's been playing, extremely well as well. But I think it's just like those other kind of defensive positions can sometimes, other than Vitoria, who's very experienced, but it's like how long are you gonna hold on to like a 36-year-old?
The defense isn't even that bad. Like,
they're not
bad. Really think about it, but it's probably the weakest point.
It's the weakest point. But it's like like when you're looking at like how the team can make that next step, it's gonna be like kind of having.
You gotta make a step. You gotta make a step forward because man, like not to say like North America or like the what's it called? CONCACAF isn't. It's a lower level than European football.
Yeah,
we're coming to World Cup. We're gonna start facing European quality high level teams. So like
South American, African,
and South American and African. These guys are gonna be balling, right? So like it's not we're be facing Panama and these small little countries.
Yeah, because especially like
football wise,
especially if you look at like the teams you come up against in CONCACAF, like the US, they like at least now they don't really have like any like big attacking player. They have Pulisic.
Who's been balling?
They didn't really have
a hat trick.
Yeah, he's balling now. Like when Canada played him, he was kind of out of form.
Yeah.
Mexico right now too, attacking wise, like Jimenez isn't the same player he used to be. Lozano's kind of cheeks these days. You know what I mean? So it's like there isn't really those perennial attacking players. But it's like when you're going to Europe, it's like you know, you're gonna even if you're going like going to the World Cup, you know, you're coming against Neymar, you're coming up against like Messi, you're coming up against, you know, potentially Cristiano Ronaldo, like these players that have done it on the biggest of stages. Like, and as a defender, like, you know what I mean, like that going through your head the whole time, it's like
gotta be shaking.
You're shaking, bro. Yeah,
it gives you a shock, you know.
Yeah,
you start playing against these world class players. Wow, it gives you a shock. You don't really get the opportunity to have this type of exposure to a different team like that, you know.
Well, that's when the mentality comes into check. You know what I mean?
Hopefully, that's when the mentality.
You're either gonna sink or swim. You know, it's like when you're up against like a high level attacker, it's either you're gonna up your game and you're gonna clamp them, or you know you're gonna get skinned, right?
This is where I think Herdman's gonna be like a big asset to Canada.
That's what I think too.
The experience that he does have,
just to calm them down. Like at the end of the day, like these are just people. Just play our game. We think about it later, you know.
And tactically, I think he'll know how to play against these European teams, because obviously Canada plays a very attacking style play against these CONCACAF teams. But when he comes against these European teams that have all this quality, he won't be able to do that. And I'm sure he knows that.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's gonna have to pick his team specifically for the teams that he's gonna come across.
I kind of want to see Canada face off against one of the big teams.
It'd be interesting to see how they compete.
I want to see, like, imagine if Portugal makes it, them facing Cristiano Ronaldo, or them facing Argentina and Messi, and then or them facing like Neymar, Brazil. You know,
I'd love to see them face
or Germany, you know, or France. Like these
Brazil.
big teams. Like it's just crazy. You see like, these kids
wearing Brazil everything.
You see these Canadians, like, you know, that were born in your backyard type of thing, and they're facing these.
Born in your backyard. No, I know what you mean.
You see them facing these world class beaters, dominators, man.
That'd be interesting to see.
It's fun to see, you know. Like hopefully, like, you know, like ideal.
See how we can do against them.
Like ideal group for me, like. If we're talking about like my ideal group, like I'd love to have like pot one. I'd love to have like a big team,
Argentina,
like a bloody massive team, like from pot one, and then pot two, like just like kind of a shittier team. Pot two, we end up in pot. No, I don't want to come against Switzerland.
Switzerland's pot one, no.
Yeah,
Switzerland's good, man. I don't want to come anywhere near Switzerland.
Why Switzerland pot one?
Because they came first in their group.
Oh yeah,
they're in Italy's group.
Oh yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like pot two, give us like, you know, a weaker team. Pot three, hopefully we're there, and then pot four, hopefully like a little bit more of a weaker team. So it's like, you know, have one big dog team and a couple other teams we can steal points from, just so you kind of get that cool experience of seeing them play against other teams, and then some other teams that they have a better chance of beating. That would be like. That'd be sick. I'd love to see them come against like France, you know? Yeah, like imagine Mbappe coming at these boys.
I'd love to see that.
That would be sick.
But it's like, it would be cool to see, you know?
It would be. Johnston versus Mbappe.
Like, imagine like
Alison's gonna get the clamps though, man.
Nutter, bro. This guy has his his sleeves cut off too.
Oh, in Qatar, it's gonna be hot, man.
This guy's wearing gloves.
They'll still have the gloves on though, yeah. Just like he's playing at NMRP.
Like just like exactly. For example, like when Davies took the ball off Messi. In that picture, you know, just seeing that, like, imagine like Mbappe running down, just going left, right, and center. You see Adekugbe or like, you know, Alisson Doncic just take his legs out cleanly, takes the ball.
That'd be sick, bro.
That would make me like get up and go, you know what I mean?
That's
like,
mad.
That's
like, you know,
mad.
Thinking a player that literally went from Vaughan Soccer Club to clamping Kylian Mbappe at the
guy
World
who
Cup.
won a World Cup.
It's madness. It's madness, you know.
He's in a peak of his form, you know.
That'd be crazy.
Like, that's
bro.
just crazy. Yeah. Or I'd rather see it kind of get Qatar too.
What?
I'd rather see them. I could see them.
Like
face Qatar.
Yeah, because that just gives you a better chance of progressing. I mean, I wouldn't mind that either, because then you get, you know, you get to progress, and then you get to get slapped up, you know,
in the next round.
Maybe round, maybe not, but it's like it's cool. I'd like if they progress, man. Dreamland.
I think Canada have the opportunity to be like that. Have the Cinderella story
kind of team.
Have the Cinderella story.
I see like that, you know what it is, man. For me, like even just looking at that picture, man. It's like the camaraderie.
Yeah, it's just,
you know,
everyone's in it. The passion.
The camaraderie that you see with these boys. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you can't teach.
No.
You know, it's like a lot of these other teams. Like even though they have all these skillful players, they go together. They can't play as a team.
Yeah.
You know, these boys, like there's some ballers in there, but like they can play as a team.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest thing, especially when it comes to these small tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Not small, but like when it comes to these like, you know, like shorter tournaments, you're not playing a full season. You're playing like a shorter tournament. That's when the camaraderie is really gonna kind of like. You know,
and also like another way is like I'm thinking about it, like, you know, like when you're like if you're in third grade and you're facing like you know, a grade older than you or a grade 2 years older, those kids are older than you. They're gonna start playing a little bit softer, you know. These little kids, you've never been here before. But you know, Canada, I can see them as those little kids. You know, they're just energetic and they're like, okay, let's go for it. There's nothing to lose. It's just, we're facing these big dogs. It's, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Let's go.
Yeah.
David versus Goliath type thing,
Right?
you know?
Like I can see that happening too, and you can tell that no player on this Canada team is not running for their life.
Yeah, they're playing for
gonna
the
be going
badge.
up and down
Mhm.
that field.
But they do
Even
it
if
against
it-
Jamaica. They're going to be doing it against these European teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, I just hope they're not there for like a vacation. You know what I mean? Like I hope they're not just there to like whatever experience Qatar.
I don't.
No,
think
I hope
so,
they
man.
don't get embarrassed.
Not
That's
with
my
them,
one
right?
hope.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
just hope
think
they don't
so,
get
man.
embarrassed.
What was the record like the last time they were there as well? They just only get like one goal.
They didn't even get a
No,
goal.
they didn't get a goal.
score.
They
Didn't
they
score at
didn't
all.
get
But
they
that
didn't
Canada
get a
team
point.
was literally wasn't good.
Totally different, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Even if you just look at it, like it's completely like those players there. Like I think I saw like I think it was on Twitter or something. I saw like the roster.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you saw where all of them were playing, they were playing for just like random like
NASL teams.
NASL teams. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like this team is like different. Like even
Yeah.
like if you look at the Canada team from like 2010, 2012, and you look at like those players where they were playing, the level they were playing to the level
Yeah.
that their team's
Yeah.
playing now, it's
Night
like
and day,
it's
bro.
night and day. It's like I don't think. I
Understand.
think they're gonna score goals. You know what I mean? Like they have players that have scored goals like at the top level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of
Yeah.
these players have played on the
Look at
highest.
Joe
Davies,
David,
man.
he's the highest goal scorer for.
Still?
Is he
No,
still?
I don't think
Not by
anymore.
Mbappe right now.
But like,
But
you
still,
know what I mean?
he's
You
up
have
there.
players that won the bloody Liga,
Yeah.
that have won the Super League, that have won the Bundesliga
Champions League.
Champions League. You know what I mean? It's like that's
Right.
As long as
insane, man.
knock on wood, that all the players stay healthy,
that's
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
100%.
as well as like at least they're in a good form as well, because you don't need players to be out of form and then being called up and they're kind of they're not in their morale's down. Then they're like, oh shit, I'm here, I have to step up, but then they don't really perform right.
Yeah.
Well, that's where Herdman comes in. I'm sure he'll
Yeah.
he'll notice it and he won't
Yeah.
play those players because Herdman's very.
No,
We all know this. He's a very smart coach. He knows
yeah.